The Zeekr X is coming off the production line right now, really, ready for Australia, also Thailand as well. So the Zeekr X is coming to Australia later this year in the second, oh no, in the second half of the year, in the third quarter is what they say. That's direct from Zeekr. And but yeah, basically we know it's either the first batch is going to come to Australia or Thailand. We suspect Australia, but we're not so sure. I would argue that Zika is one of the most underrated brands at the moment for producing good quality cars and EVs, I think. And I think they're quite a bit nicer than you might guess. So if you've seen a Volvo and a BYD, the new electric cars from these companies, and you compare a Zika to them, I would say that they're comparable. Obviously, Zika and Volvo, they're kind of together. So you would argue that. But I actually think that Zika potentially have an edge in terms of quality and how they feel when they drive, and also the switches and the seating position and everything. I think actually Zika, they do something different. It does feel 20% better, I think, than a Volvo. Volvos are pretty good. Reports suggest that Australia is the first destination for this first batch of cars, but Australia is not the only right-hand drive market in the world. So you'll definitely get the 4-seat version in Australia. We don't know if the 5-seat version is coming. There is a difference in the back bench where they do something with storage or something, and you can maybe store an animal in it or something, your pet. I'm not sure what it was now. Both rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive versions are available. The car is built on Geely's platform called Sustainable Experience Architecture. I don't know why they give these platforms crazy names at times, otherwise known as SEA. In China, the single motor version has a 200 kilowatt motor on the back with 343 newton meters of torque and is only available as a 4-seater. And the all-wheel drive version adds another 115 kilowatts motor on the front, providing a total of 200 newton meters of torque on the front. So the single motor version has a range of 560 kilometers CLTC. You'll probably never get that unless you drive at 60 kilometers per hour. So the all-wheel drive version as well, that has a range of about 500 to 510 CLTC, depending on the trim that you get. And all versions come with the same battery, a 66 kilowatt hour LFP battery by CATL or CALB. And these are, really big Chinese battery makers. If I do my regular adjustment to bring that into a more reasonable figure that you'll see if you're, say, for example, in Holland, you'll probably get 375 kilometers with the single motor version and about 341 kilometers for the dual motor version. So like I said, they all come with a 66 kilowatt hour battery supplied by CATL or CALB, both 400 volts. And in China, the prices for this car there are $27,000 and $30,000 US dollars, give or take a few $100 US dollars. So I would expect a fair bit more than that, I think, in Australia. So probably something like 50, 60, 70,000 is the window, I think, for the cheapest version, the most expensive version, depending on how you spec it, of course. The base version seems obviously the best one, I think. It's already a fast car, 200 kilowatts is a lot of power. It's on the back wheels. It will drive really, really nice. And in my book, Zika vehicles drive better than, I think, Volvo vehicles for something. Whatever they do, I don't really know, but they're very good at making their cars feel really good, in the same way that Volkswagen are very good at making their cars drive really, really good when you compare it to something like a Fiat. I would compare them to BYD, perhaps even better than a BYD in build quality and how they feel as well. And it comes with a good-sized LFP battery, which I think is really, really good when you consider that it's not crazy money, and it looks pretty good too, I think. I'm not so sure about the front, but the rest of it, really, really nice. I love that it's a bit of a hatchback in terms of shape and size, and I think it will be a far more practical vehicle, than the Zeekr 009, which will most likely never have passengers in it, rarely, once every 2 weeks, and I think considerably more practical and reasonable than a ute or a truck in America, as you call them, that get driven around with literally nothing in the back, and they are basically farm vehicles. So what do you all think? Let me know in the comments, and let me know how you think the Zeekr X stacks up against brands such as Volvo, BYD, maybe Volkswagen as well, because they're coming out with some really nice cars these days, actually. Yeah. So for those of you that are new, I'm Ben Alexander, and I make EV news videos every day, so please remember to subscribe if you haven't already. And any comments, just put them in the comment section below. And if you want to reply, I'll reply to you.